Hello, everybody, and welcome into Frank's retirement home. We've got some Monday Night Smite action between the Odin's Headhunters and the Killer Kappas. I am your host for tonight, DKen4159. With me is Mr. Nacho on the desk and our broadcaster, Salty. Nacho, how are you feeling tonight?
I am definitely feeling. I have my beautiful glass Coca-Cola bottle. I'm sipping away for some fine Smite entertainment tonight.
Absolutely. I can't disagree with you. I got myself a little Gatorade next to me as we go ahead and step into the first phase of bans here. So far, we see an Osiris and an Athena. Nothing too surprising there out of either one.
No, but I'm a little surprised to see Athena still being prioritized. I feel like she's kind of fallen off, especially in a lot of my games. She's just doesn't seem to have as much impact as she once did.
Always possible. I think she's just been around long enough, and at this point, she's still annoying. Teams are just like, maybe she's not as strong, but I'd really rather just not deal with the possibility of getting taunted every 15 seconds.
And that's fair. I am a little bit worried now. Uh, they're gonna have to leave open Hachiman or Avaman for the first pick now since banning the Bake Kujira. I'm really liking this ban strategy coming out from the Odin Headhunters. It's just banning two things that are not super high priority, but really annoying to play against, and leaving open some stuff for yourself here.
Exactly, and that's picks and bans. It's the game before the game, and first pick is such a strong position right now. Like you said, it does leave open the Hachiman hover so far as we finish the bans out with a Ganesh and a Martikaros, but also leaving open the Vamana so that Killer Kappas have the opportunity to get whichever one of those that Odin's Headhunters doesn't want for themselves. So both teams at least doing all right through the ban phase to set themselves up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if the Kappas didn't just slam a Vomon Cuckoo. Both of those gods are just so incredibly strong. Vomon is running every single game that he's allowed to play in, and Cuckoo is just such a consistent source of damage from mid with a really nice confirm ultimate for objectives. He kind of just does everything that you want in a mid lane.
Absolutely, and both of those gods individually provide so much space control, and if they were to be on the same team, that would terrify me if I was looking into them. Luckily for Odin's Headhunters, they won't have to deal with the Vamana at least, as we see a Bellona locked in from Killer Kappas.
Yeah, I think Bologna is still an incredibly strong pick. She doesn't really lose to anyone except Vomon, honestly, and I'm surprised that they're choosing Bologna over Vomon here.
Admittedly, I'm a little surprised of it too. Bellona absolutely incredibly strong, like you said, into just about everyone, and definitely beats Vamana up until ults get involved. I mean, at that point, Big Baby is Big Baby. Killer Kappas will round out their front line here with a Geb Bologna pairing. Those two definitely pretty strong right now and can provide a lot of spatial control in these team fights.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you've given up Vomon, Cuckoo, Hachiman. This is already looking incredibly scary if I am the Killer Kappas right now. I, wow, giving up three of arguably the best in each role right now. Uh, is just it's a little shocking to me, and I'm a little worried because what does a Geb peel for a Vomon? I mean, he's just gonna turn into a big baby. He's gonna just walk around stomping on people, and the best that Gib can do is just offer a little shield. And, and I don't know, this is going to be incredibly difficult to deal with for the Kappas.
Absolutely. Definitely a big challenge they've worked themselves up for. I think Odin Headhunters probably like I don't think they could have imagined a more perfect top 3 for themselves going into the second phase of bans after Killer Kappas do end up locking in this Ishtar.
I don't dislike the Ishtar pick. I think that the Ishtar pick is relatively fine here. I do worry that Ishtar has a relatively difficult time getting away from a Vomit. I, with the one dash she has, she can create some space, but it's not that far of a dash. And realistically, I'm not sure that Ishtar alone is enough to deal with this Vomit. I'd like to see maybe priority towards a Merlin, maybe something with some sort of ability to help and just kill the Vomit when he goes into that big baby mode. So a really hard scaling mage at this point would be nice.
Definitely. When Vamana goes big and starts stomping on people, he definitely demands everyone's priority to try to figure out how to deal with that problem. So Killer Kappas will have to find someone else to pair with the Ishtar who can either save each other or be able to out damage the Vamana's incredible shield and lifesteal in his ult in order to kill him before he kills them. Bans have been rounded out here. Agni Serket on the part of Odin's Headhunters, Alquang Thanatos from the Killer Kappas. Lots of jungle bans, but still leaves open the Thor pick for the Kappas to start off this second phase here.
And I actually really like the bands coming out from the Kappas, and I really love this Thor pick. I feel like if there is anything to save this draft, it will be this Thor pick. I think Thor doesn't have a difficult time getting onto a Cuckoo, and he really doesn't have a difficult time getting onto Hachi either. So is this? I think the Thor pick may end up being the saving grace of the Killer Kappas.
Absolutely. If that backline is not careful, Thor dunking or hitting a good crucial wall could absolutely spell some trouble for the part of Odin's Headhunters. We have
Hmm.
seen a Hunbats locked in to counteract that, who also, like Cuckoo and Vamana, provide so much spatial control in these team fights through the Fear No Evil, and a Charon to provide some initiation along with that Fear No Evil. Odin's Headhunters draft just top to bottom looking strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, you really couldn't have asked for more from this draft. The only not super high priority pick is this Hunbats, and I think that the Hunbats is still just incredibly strong. I- mm,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. Have seen a Changa lock in from Killer Kappas to round them out. I do see a picture where Killer Kappas can really execute on their team fight and the individual picks that can come from a Bologna, a Thor, a Changa. But me personally, I think Odin's Headhunters has a slight edge. What do you think as we've seen all this draft finally finish up here?
just off of the draft alone, I mean, I'm giving it like 80-20 to the Odin Headhunters. I think that this is just incredibly strong draft. Uh, it, you have basically everything that you need other than some like lockdown on non-ultimate abilities. I feel like that's the only thing they might struggle with is finding a way to interrupt the Thor and Bologna on the dive. But they're gonna be diving into a Cuckoo Hachiman and Charon's gonna be chilling with them, and there may even be a Hunbats back there. So it's still just going to be incredibly difficult for Thor to get in there and do something.
Yeah, like you said, Killer Kappas being able to get in there and take advantage of Odin's Headhunters' ultimates being down is going to be crucial throughout this game for them.
Absolutely. Finding a way to bait the ultimates from the Vomit and the Charon and then re-engaging. That's that would be how they can win this match.
Absolutely. That's the thing about Vamana. Every time he's strong, everyone's like, "Oh, his ult, his ult. We don't know how to do anything about his ult." No one says anything about the rest of his kit. So if his ult's down, that's your time to take advantage of him.
Absolutely. If he doesn't have Big Baby, I'm actually really confident that if he eats a Changa ult while in front of this Ishtar, then the baby's just gonna fall over. He's just gonna fall over dead.
Yeah, and I mean, gonna have to see how it all plays out if the Killer Kappas are able to take advantage of it anytime those timers are down.
All right. So far, looking at the starter items, nothing unusual as far as I can see. A little bit. I don't know if it's better to go eye on Hunbats. I imagine Bumba's is just objectively stronger right now.
I would tend to agree with you after the shift of taking the attack speed off of I and giving it Prots instead. I think I is really the bruiser reinitiation route, for your warrior jungles or people who want to like get in there and for prolonged fights. But yeah, generally with most people who want to get in there and do damage, I would agree that Bumbas would make a little more sense.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
other than that, everything seems relatively normal. A little bit
yeah,
of pressure coming out onto the Gib here.
we see nothing too crazy so far out of the start. Slightly different start in mid lane, I think, or maybe it was just clear difference between a Cuckoo and a Chang'e that allowed him to get to lane faster. As we check out the action here in the duo lane, teams just kind of clearing wave, backing off. No one wants to fight too much yet here in the early game.
Yeah, I believe that the Cuckoo went straight to wave after the red speed, and I believe Chang'e followed the Thor over to the opposite speed.
Yeah, that would make a little sense. Interesting to see how potential XP differences come into play as we see grouping up here on the left. Harpies, Hunbats coming in with the overhead club. Thor caught in the twister from Cuckoo. He's taking some tick damage. He's on the wrong side of the map. Is he able to get away? Hammers away from the Hunbats. Just able to get... Oh, blink in. Blink out. Hunbats aggressive start there. Not quite able to pick up the Thor, though.
And I mean, that's honestly fine with Hunbats. Hunbats is notoriously a little bit weaker pre-5, and he didn't make it seem that way.
Not at all. He took the initiation just as he is here in the duo lane, coming in with an overhead smash 3v2, diving in with the Sacred Monkey. Geb trying to knock him under tower, but not quite able to get that there. As we see Hunbats really trying to apply this early pressure that, as you said, he's not necessarily known for. Would have expected to see this more out of Death the King on the Thor.
Yeah, but I really do like the way that he's playing this on this Hunbats. He's making it known that he is here and he will not just be dealt with.
Mm-hmm. And I love seeing this out of the mid laners. They're fighting over that scepter, and it looks like they're fighting over more than just the scepter. As Chang'e trying to get out, but not able to get out. Krusty's picking up first blood here in the mid lane, and that is not what you want to see if you're Killer Kappas. Having to fight into a Cuckoo with a lead just spells such a headache when you start grouping up.
Yeah, I don't know if Scepter's worth getting first blooded over, honestly. I think that it's incredibly fun, but if you're trying to win this matchup, I don't see a need to just sit there and tank all of that.
Yeah, not worth dying over as we see Geb get out with low HP. Low HP bars all over the map here on both side lanes. But I would agree, Interceptor, fun to fight over, definitely worthwhile tool when you don't want to just give it up, but not worth your life, and especially not worth first blood.
Yeah, I mean, giving first blood to a Kukul Khan of everyone on the map can spell rough. It spells early gold furies for the Odin headhunters as we see this Thorol go in.
Yeah, Thor just goes up, sees a low health target, and says, I'm going to drop down on you. And that's all there is to that story. Comes over, gets an easy kill onto the Vamana. Try to set this Bellona ahead as he now goes through the jungle scene. If there's any camps he can clear, unfortunately, those are all down, but he will find these right Harpies.
Yeah, and that's what I like seeing from Thor right now. I like the idea of putting this Vahman behind, and the more behind he gets, the better. Letting Bellona kind of do whatever she wants can really, really, really help this game.
Absolutely. Bellona not someone you want to be ahead if you have to deal with her either, as we see Hunbats rotating in on this duo lane. Blink, ult, overhead smash, Ishtar beats and dashes away, not able to get out of all of the damage though, as Xenophonics picks up a nice kill here in the duo lane as we see a Cuckoo rotation. It's a 4v Geb. Spirit of the Nine Winds wipes him off of the map. good rotation there out of the Odin's Headhunters to just have the numbers on the fight. Thor goes in on the Hachi at the tower line, manages to pick up a return kill, which is huge. Don't let it go completely unanswered there for them, but still, good initial rotation from Headhunters. Killer Kappa was able to get something in return, though.
Yeah, that was just. I mean, honestly, I think that was rather mean. How dare you bully the Geb so hard like that? He's just trying to be a rock in duo lane, and you send 2 extra people to go and make sure he can't have any fun at all. Good on Death the King getting that return kill onto Aloydi. Is not letting the Hachi man get further ahead is really, really important.
Yeah, not letting the Hachi get further ahead and not letting this Vamana step up to wave at this point as we see GDB having a good 70% of his health bar above him. Switch over to action here in the mid lane as it's just a little bit of wave clear. Chunga facing some disadvantages in clear ability. She just can't clear at the same distance and safety Cuckoo can, so she's gonna her health bar probably not gonna be super great, but does have sustain for herself throughout there. These teams just kind of clearing wave, farming up, saying, okay, we had a quick flurry of action, but we're gonna just chill for a minute or two here.
Yeah, I mean, this game is basically dead even. I mean, I really like seeing the wards around Gold Fury for Killer Kappas right now. I mean, they're kind of just ward supremacy on that side of the map.
Absolutely. You can never be too careful. You want to make sure that your opponent's not pulling anything, even if it might seem too early. We do see Thor with a successful invade on the blue buff to, again, like you said, try to keep this Vamana down and get this Bellona ahead so that she can do the things she wants to do in the mid to late game. Group up here as the junglers find each other. Thor with the wall, Thor with the hammer, Thor going up into the sky. Where's he going to go? Is he going to go in? Is he going to go out? He's looking around. He sees a Cuckoo. He's going in. Big stun. Cuckoo beads. Forced out as we see a grouping here. The Stygian wave out of Charon fears the Thor into the team, and they manage to pick up another kill as we see this action continue on into the mid lane. Geb ult stuns out too as he tries to peel for the Chunga, as the Bellona is wreaking havoc here on this Cuckoo who's desperate to try to get out. Bellona ult up, down. Cuckoo gets out on 1 HP somehow as the Vamana is now causing trouble. Big Baby stomping on people. Chunga dancing away. How are people getting out on these low health bars? I don't understand it, Manacho.
I I don't understand either. Both mid laners going to get out of that one on actually 1 HP. Cuckoo living there is criminal. Changa living there is also criminal. I think the only reason Changa got out was because of that Gib shield. That Gib shield did just enough to keep her alive and kicking. Uh, just huge Bellona ult comes through, stuns 3 people. Cuckoo really should have fallen over and been. He should have just been a dead snake in mid lane, but instead he lives yet another time.
Yeah, I mean, just so many ults, so many abilities, so much damage done in that fight. Everyone lucky to escape with their life as we see Cuckoo find this Geb here around the left camp, but Geb just gonna roll out and roll away into safety. Do you expect that pace to continue here? Do you expect them to meet up and fight again as soon as these ultimates are back up, or do you think people are gonna wait, try to get some farm and some more items under their belt as we see people start to roll over to the second item of their build?
I'd be surprised if they weren't playing around Hunbat's ult timer. I mean, once that ultimate's back up, I mean, and once Poppin Knight has his Vomit ult back and available for him, I'd be surprised if they didn't just look to call the Vomit over. Uh, Especially onto the Stygian Beacon's timer. At 12 minutes, I believe it spawns. Having your solo laner and ADC come over, if you can win a fight on that Stygian and force Gold Fury, it can be incredible for getting an early lead and really swinging your way into sieging for bastions and tier 1 towers, and that can help you go into a pyromancer even.
Exactly, and that's some of the momentum and domino effect of the early game is We see we're almost 10 minutes in here. These teams have played pretty well, pretty close. Odin's Headhunters got themselves a bit of a lead here, but nothing too crazy for the Kappas to deal with. It's going to be interesting to see, like you said, as we start grouping up around these objectives, who's able to really land this first solid punch here in this fight. We see Ishtar poked out a little bit.
Man, Hachiman is such an annoying character to have to lane against.
It is. Thor comes in, hits the wall, hits the stun, hits some hammer, but Krusty's very patient, doesn't panic bead, says, "You're not going to kill me here," so apparently he was right. Gets out, and Odin's Headhunters pick up this tower in the left lane too, get a little bit of global gold in their pockets.
Yeah, I mean, Aloydi is, he's, I think they're actually relatively even on XP at least. Aloydi has already finished his Devo stacks though.
And finish this second item up full exi off of just the T1 for Snips, so unless Snips is sitting on a good bit of gold in pocket, that might be a potential issue as we see a little bit of a grouping here in the jungle. Maybe, maybe not. No, people just kind of dancing around in mid lane, trading some damage as we see wave clear. Does look like they're going in there on the left lane as we see, yes, Aloydi manages to pick up Snips. As we said, the advantage there in the Devos and the Exes. We see a Thor dunk in too. Hachi manages to ult away. Also under tower. Does manage to stay alive though. Low HP all around. But Odin's Headhunters do pick that kill and manage to escape with their lives.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Death the King needed to get that return kill onto Hachi to stop the pressure from being applied towards this Gold Fury.
Yeah, definitely would have been crucial in order to get that return and prevent them from gaining such an advantage, as we see them still grouping up, going for a potential speed buff invade, but that buff is not spawned. They will settle for the purple, as they now looks like they might rotate towards the Gold Fury area. Maybe not. They're picking up oracles. I guess don't feel confident pulling the objective quite yet.
Yep. I mean, I like just grabbing Stygian, and then seeing if they step up and you're able to find a pick, then you can look towards the Gold Fury. Pulling the Gold Fury unnecessarily too early can spell problems.
Absolutely. Don't want to recklessly pull things and give your opponent an opening in order to make any sort of progress in their comeback. So we have seen them back off a little bit again. These teams farming up. Who do you think has the advantage at this portion, as we see Thor up in the sky again, sitting on this Vamana, coming in? He's going to hit the ult. He's going to get a Bologna ult to help it too. Vamana goes into big baby form, not able to survive. The Charon wave comes ripping through. Hunbat's ult comes ripping through. They manage to keep the Thor under the tower long enough to pick up a kill. Hachiman's over here too. Aloydi gets another kill. And we see action in the duo lane too, as Pokemon gets a kill onto Krusty's. Action all over the map here. It ends up being a 2-for-2 all around. But does anyone pick up the edge there, as we see this action even continue a little bit? Yes, and Chang'e stepping away. Gebshield not able to stay alive though, unfortunately. Killer Kappas lose 3 all across the map here. Odin's Headhunters answers my question, makes it a clear, maybe not clear, but a win for them all around.
Yeah, but again, no objectives pulled. You're getting a big gold lead, and it's mainly coming from keeping the enemy team off of their own farm for extended periods of time. But I'd really like to see more neutral contention, specifically onto this Gold Fury right now.
Yeah, it does seem like they've had a couple of opportunities to really look at that and get the first objective going their way, as we see this Hunbats come into the Thor, get stunned out, and now is potentially overextended. No, Cuckoo's there with him, so he's at least not alone. They are going to pick up the oracles, but maybe now, as we see Vamana over here on the left side, everybody over on the left side except for the Bologna, does look like we're finally going to see a grouping around this Gold Fury. As we see Hunbats go in, but Geb able to knock up, shield himself, get away. Charon rowing in there. Geb's still low HP with the Vamana on him. Geb ult trying to get away. Not able to get away from the long-range Hachi autos, though. Charon sends the wave out. Hits Chang'e, but they're too far away to take advantage of that as these teams fall back. Maybe looking at gold, maybe looking at Bologna. Maybe looking at Vamana now. Thor also in the back circling around. As it now still dicey for the Headhunters as they are pulling this Gold Fury down to about 50% HP. Thor in the back causing havoc though. Spirit of the Nine wins too early. Bologna ult eliminates Krusty's. Thor still alive. Hunbat's on him. Thor hammers away. Chang'e's still alive but low HP. Trying to get out. Not still alive somehow. Hunbats misses the monkey. Jumps in. Immunity dance. Does eventually fall to Xenophonics though. But Hunbats stays around too long and gets picked up himself by Death the King. All just trades all around. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of the Kappas. Vamana ult, he's stepping on people.
I just want to ask, what is happening? What is going on? These fights are so spread out and they last forever. It's like they're playing a whole match of arena and then they go back to farm for about a minute and a half to get all their cooldowns back and then they play another arena. No objectives being taken. It's just fight, 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 and every real team fight has looked rather even thus far.
Exactly. Either even or a team manages to get a 2-for-1, a slight edge in their favor. No clean victories so that someone's able to just be like, we won the fight and the objective. So as you said, these objectives haven't even been looked at yet. However, Odin's Headhunters have managed to pull themselves a bit of a lead here. About 3,000 gold, 3,000 XP. Those levels and items do matter a lot as we are seeing larger group ups. It's not just 2v2s now. It's 4v4s or almost all 10 members of the team. Do you think Odin's Headhunters should really press on the gas pedal, try to as we see Bologna ult as we fight over the scepter? You think Odin's Headhunters should press the gas, or do you think they should sit back and be like, we have the stronger late game?
Odin Headhunters right now should be abusing the fact that Aloydi is 3 levels ahead and has a finished Kins.
Oh, yes, that is a massive lead to have to try to contend without a dual lane. I agree. At that point in time, it's even if we have the stronger late game, we're just stronger now. Why not push that advantage? We see some positioning over this beacon.
Exactly. I mean, they're up, what, 3? Oh.
Hunbats comes in, ults the Geb, fears him around. Charon also hits him with the wave. They pick that one up. Thor in the sky looking at this. Hunbats does manage to come down on him, gets the stun, hammers away. Not able to get the return there as we see Odin's Headhunter still in strong position around and will pick up this beacon, doing some damage to these towers. That mid tower does not die to beacon, but will die now, which allows them to pick up that global gold as it's still not quite patched out of the game. Gotta wait till tomorrow for that one.
Yeah. Finally an objective, maybe? They're kind of looking at it, grouping around this.
Maybe. Congratulations to Canthy, who just won the free gem giveaway in celebration of the first objective of this game finally going down. Odin's Headhunters pick up a Pyromancer for themselves.
Yep, and Pyrobomb being available now, they could even almost look at sieging tier 2s with that. As we see Cuckoo just kind of dancing around behind the tier 1 looking for something silly.
We actually see a large group up around this Thor, who might not know he's so outnumbered here. Bologna numbered, but has the health bar to just say, I don't care, I'm going in on this Bologna. Never mind, as everyone rotates over to take down this tower. Bologna just gonna say, oh, Thor dunk in, lands on the Vamana, gets the stun, not able to get the kill, gets killed himself. Vamana into big baby, Hunbat's all gonna fear the Chang'e. Spirit of the Nine Winds rips through everybody. The Odin's Headhunters are on a rampage as they just group up and just pick them off one by one. They take 3 clean. Maybe now we can finally look at one of the big objectives.
A little bit of hesitation coming out. Don't know if they're going to try it, but they do eventually pick it up here. And I don't see any sort of ability to contest this from the Kappas at this point.
No, I don't either. just looks like they're just going to have to give this up as they have finally pulled it, taking down the effigy so it goes down faster. Not burning super fast, but it is down to 50% HP as we see Vamana prowling on the top half of the Fire Giant pit, daring any Kappa to set foot in his vision so that he can prevent them from getting damage on this Fire Giant. As Charon, low HP, stepping out, almost falls to the fire ring
Almost.
damage, but does not able to stay alive. Odin's Headhunters get Fire Giant around 5 people and have taken a commanding lead here 20 minutes into this game 1.
Yeah, and I mean, all of that over Death getting maybe perhaps a little bit ambitious with his Thorol into an entire team of 5, nobody on your team really available to help. Would it have even been worth killing Papa Nike for that?
It's one of those things, like, you're up there, you see them grouped up, like, I have to go in, but do you? Do you actually? I don't know. But we do also see Odin's Headhunters pick up that Gold Fury, Geb unable to steal it away. And this gold lead has ballooned up to like over 7,000 at this point, plus Fire Giant. We're going to see some sieges on these towers, and potentially Phoenix is here soon.
Yeah, I mean, they could just sweep the tier 2s and back, and then they would probably still have time to siege maybe a left Phoenix. I, they're looking incredibly strong right now. It's going to be so difficult for the Kappas to defend any sort of siege because how do you clear a minion wave and stop it from walking into your Phoenix with the comp that they have drafted? You can't step up with Changa to clear it. Uh, Snips may be able to get some long range Ishtar autos off to clear it, but it's not really going to clear anything. So they're going to have an incredibly difficult time zoning off these Phoenix sieges.
Yeah, when the Killer Kappas were in the draft, I can't imagine that they were saying, "Hey, we want to be defending sieges with this comp. They want to be sieging," but instead they're getting sieged under
Oh
tower
my.
as we see Hunbat's ult overlaid with a Spirit of the Nine Winds that just eliminates Filthy Scylla. That Geb was not made of stone. He was made of wet cardboard in that one. Chang'e comes in, hits an ult, but not able to get the Cuckoos. We see Thor in the sky in the back. Phoenix does go down. Ishtar ult coming through. Papa Nike picks up a kill. Death the King picks up the kill onto the Cuckoos. We just see action all over this area. Another kill, and Aloydi picks up one. Papa Nike picks up another one. It's an
That's just
all-out
game.
deicide. And yeah, I can't see anything that could stop them from just walking into Titan Room. In fact, Vamana still has ult throughout that entire engagement. He's just going to ult the Titan. We see Geb come in and ult and try to stall, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's stunned out. Aloydi picks up another one, goes on a rampage here as we see the Titan
Titan
burn.
is tanky. It's
He's
got 2
burning.
tier 2s up,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
burning.
still
Oh, picks up a kill.
the Titan is he's him. It will end up being game just off of that.
Yeah, I mean, just ends that quickly. Like we said, I thought we were going to see them clear towers and then maybe to step up at a Phoenix, but they just said, no, we're just going to take everything. We're going to take the Geb and the tower at the same time. And then they come up and say, well, now you can't stop us. And apparently they were right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the Geb only had 2 items finished. The Geb was in no way, shape, or form tanky, and they made sure to just ensure that the Geb was punished for being a squishy little marshmallow. Was not a rock, was in fact a marshmallow.
Yeah, and when your support just doesn't quite have the items under his belt in order to be able to take that damage in that way, it does just make it that much harder for people to step up and provide some fight back under what was just honestly an unrelenting onslaught from Odin's Headhunters. As you said, their draft was so strong and they took every advantage that their draft offered them throughout this entire game.
Yeah, I feel like almost that entire match comes down to draft diff. How do you deal with having Hachi Vamen Cuckoo Charon? Like, that is such a tall task to try and execute against.
Absolutely. I don't know how to deal with it myself. Hopefully, Killer Kappas either find an answer or tweak their draft strategy, but we will find that out in game 2. We will be back here in a little bit here at Frank's retirement home. welcome back everybody to Frank's retirement home as we are back with some more Kane's action between the Killer Kappas and the Odin's Headhunters. Odin's Headhunters did take the game one there as they just, from beginning to end, just really pushed the advantages they had into an overwhelming end game there. Nacho, do you
Mm,
think Killer Kappas have had a chance to adjust, and what adjustments do you think we'll see coming into this game too?
I think that you can't let them have Hachikuku Vomon. You can't let that happen. And as we see, they ban Hachi first ban. So obviously not looking to take Hachiman for themselves now that they're back in this first pick position. But I, I'm not sure I'd be banning Hachi Whale from first pick. I think I'd be leaving those for second pick to ban.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to ban some things. You can't just leave all the crazy overpowered gods open. But I would agree. I would generally say, like, hey, these are the ones we want to pick for ourselves because we know they're so strong right now. We'll either make you ban them or we'll take them. We have seen the bans finish out. Hachi, Bake, Ganesha on side of Killer Kappas, Cuckoo, Osiris, Bellona on Odin's Headhunters. So lots of solo lane bans except for the Vamana, but that does also leave open a pick that got banned last time in this Athena going to be locked in for the first pick from Killer Kappas.
Yep. And that's fine if you can rationalize that the Athena can do more than the Vomit can. And to be honest with you, Papa Knight did so much just general space control in that last game on Vomit. I'm a little worried about giving him that pick for a second time as
Exactly, as we see
as
it
we see it
hovered.
hovered.
We see it hovered, and I imagine going to be locked in here soon. Also paired with a Rama hover, and I would agree. Athena very strong and does what she does incredibly well, but what she does cannot counter a Vamana who just steps on people as he's big and glowing gold. What's a taunt gonna do to him? Literally nothing.
Yeah.
Paired
I
paired with
mean,
a Rama, that's a really strong first two picks, even if a little unconventional out of the realm.
mm, I love this Ao Kwang pick. I think Ao Kwang is something that can kind of sit on Vomit early. You just kind of walk over there and you just execute him. I mean, unless he picks up beads, he's going to have a hard time getting away from you. I'm not the biggest fan of picking up Sun Wukong here. I mean, Thoth is available, uh, and I'm surprised not to see it grabbed by the Killer Kappas.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
mm,
understand picking Wukong, you're just like, hey, going against a Vamana, I just want to be able to like do my thing, not be ganked too easily. I just want to chill and exist. But I would agree it does leave also the Thanatos at
oh
Odin's
my.
Headhunters locked in, you know, left a lot of there were a lot of options open for Kappas that I think might have been a little more priority than this Wukong. We've seen the top phase of picks come out.
Yeah, Odin Headhunters looks like the dive on that comp. Vomit, Thanatos, Rom, Snipes. What backline do you even think you could play into something that'll be diving you as hard as that?
I honestly don't know, and I would not want to have to be the one to figure out. Killer Kappa's gonna have to try to put their heads together and find up a solution to that answer. We do know it won't be the Ishtar again, as that does get banned out this game, along with the Charon ban. So lots of picks from last game have just been thrown out the wayside at this point. Got to make people play something else here.
Yep, and then we see the Thoth ban on top of it, not allowing the Killer Kappas basically any priority mid laners. Uh, I do like to see the Charon ban. Jormungandr hovered here. I would imagine that's hmm. Is it your mid?
Potentially, I guess that's the question Odin's headhunters have posed. We'll see. Try to see with the last pick how that comes out. I'm going to focus on the other side because it's a little easier to dissect at this point. X Ball, very strong and can really help counteract that Thanatos Rama. If they can't see me, they can't hit me, is apparently the solution Killer Kappas have come up to that problem.
I mean, I kind of like it. I Now you just gotta find a mid laner that can be scale hard enough into the late game while not dying to Vomit Thanatos Rom. Uh, and also Yorm on top of that. This is such an aggressive, just we're going to kill you style comp from the Odin Headhunters right now. And I'm not positive that there's many mid laners in the game that could deal with something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one thought in the head of Odin's headhunters, and it is attack. They are going to march forward at whoever they see. Killer Kappas are going to have to take that initial punch from them and then find a way to counteract if Odin's headhunters either overextends or if they expend all their ultimates. And you said a strong mid laner that can scale up and manage to stay rather safe. Scylla does seem to fit that mold, even if not strong early, come late game, really, really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Scylla pick. I mean, the only thing you have to be a little bit worried about with the Scylla pick is those ROM snipes. If you can get out with 1 HP and then you eat a ROM snipe, that always feels terrible.
Yes,
But for the most part, Thanatos can't chase you through a wall. Vomit can't chase you through a wall. If Rom is in the air and he gets X-Ball ulted, he's not going to be able to see you to snipe you. The only thing that you have to worry about chasing you over a wall would be this Jormungandr ult, and I'm almost positive that that Jormungandr is going into the mid lane, which means that Jormungandr ult will be doing some pretty decent damage coming through those team fights.
yeah, it does. We've seen an Aphrodite locked in Odin's Headhunters to round out their draft, which I have to assume is going into the support role. So does look like the Jormungandr mid, and Yorm, generally we see him out of solo, but is known for one thing: early aggression in the laning phase, something that Scylla does not deal with very well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to find it incredibly difficult for Scylla to get through the rough laning phase that comes with playing Scylla into a Thanatos Jormungandr. Because you're gonna have to just watch yourself at all times.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a tough task there. So, on one side for the Killer Kappas, we see a very strong late game scaling comp. If they can get to 25, 30 plus minutes, extended fire giant or
Oh yeah,
advanced fire giant time, this draft starts to look nigh on unstoppable.
it
Odin's
looks
Headhunters
incredible.
wants to win before that time.
hmm
Yeah. Do you have one that you want to give the edge to at this point?
I think I'm giving the edge just off draft alone. I think the Odin Headhunters just a little bit, mainly due to Vomit Thanatos, and I think Vomit is so incredibly strong, and I'm not sure that the Killer Kappas are going to be able to survive the pressure that the Odin Headhunters will put out. Between the only saving grace of the Killer Kappa's draft, as far as the relatively early game goes, is going to be Athena ult, X-Ball ult, and they should be able to find decent picks with that early on.
Yeah, I like you said, they're definitely gonna have to find some early picks in order to get into that late game that they are so clearly prioritizing. I guess we will find out as we are starting to get into game one here. Little bit of honking around before minions spawn as these teams just try to stay loose and make sure they don't get nervous or, anything as we are nearing game two. Anything sticking out in your mind aside from the confirmed Jormungandr mid at this point?
Again, I'm not positive I like Eye of Jungle on Thanatos. I still think Bumba's is better. I am a little bit surprised to see X-Ball not going for the Ornate crit build, considering the mega long range autos that come with his ult. Being able to crit a backline with one of those can always change the course of a team fight.
Absolutely, definitely a bit of a surprise there, but Cowl not a bad option on him either. A little bit of mana sustain as his bolas do kind of tax that resource pretty heavily, especially throughout the early game.
Yep. But another thing that I'm surprised to see is Athena going with a meditation cloak instead of having a horrific. I think having horrific into Aphrodite Vomon Thanatos first relic is arguably, I don't even think arguably, I think it is just objectively better than having that little bit of sustain that Med gives you on its own.
Yeah, Med is a nice little security blanket, but Horrific is just so strong at this point, and I think will continue to be strong even throughout the nerfs that it will receive in the new patch tomorrow. We see a lot of little bit of skirmishes here in the first. We see Death the King coming over to this duo lane early again. A potential gank over there as he's trying to flank, but looks like might have been spotted out because Odin's Headhunter's not giving him any opening there.
Yeah, I mean, Odin's Headhunters read the book. They placed two wards above that little purple camp thingy of Mob Bobber. And it's just spotted out, and there's not much an Alquan can do if you know he's going to be there.
No, and apparently not much this Vamana can do early on into this Sun Wukong. Manages to escape, but is so low HP. Gonna have to step back and potentially even back to base and burn that teleport early here, unless he wants to watch this Wukong freeze the entire wave. As we see, again, as we said, Scylla struggling to clear early into a Thanatos Yorm. Gonna have those waves pushed under tower a little bit. Alquang really hovering this duo lane at this point. I guess he really wants to try to get them ahead early as we see Thanatos also making his way over here. Fight over the shield buff. Double taunt from Athena. No follow-up, but there's follow-up from the other side as Thanatos comes in, hits the scythe. Athena managing to stay alive throughout all this. It's two separate fights. Thanatos falls down in the back first, and then Athena falls, able to turn that around and pick up first blood for themselves out of what looked like a really bad situation.
I mean, it's support for jungle. It's super worth having. You got first blood on the Kappas as well as picking up their jungler, and I feel like that is relatively worthwhile trade. I mean, you come out with about 100, almost 200 gold lead, and right there. Taking Thanatos off the map and giving your Ao Kuang a little bit of room to farm up and get, especially towards that level 5 where he can start to almost come over and stare at this Vomit as much as he would like to, is incredibly important.
Absolutely. Like you said, early advantages mean so much at this point as we see Wukong really pushing the early advantage he has in the clear department. More skirmishes over in duo lane. We see dash taunt in from Athena, but she's taking a little more damage than they're giving out. As Aphrodite hooked up to Rom, this healing is just going to be so much to deal with. We know they're going to have to answer that at some point. When do you expect to see some anti-heal come out, especially with Athena not picking up an early game horrific that has Ankh folded into it now in case people forget as to why it's so strong?
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if Xball doesn't upgrade and get the Executioner glyph almost immediately into this team comp. I know it kind of feels bad to spend that 600 gold on it, but at this point, having that 40% anti-heal on it is incredibly worthwhile into this enemy team comp.
Absolutely. We just saw how worthwhile it would be. Snips was sniping him with autos, and Aloydi wasn't taking any damage because Afro was just healing up the exact same amount of damage he was taking. So, gonna have to get that online at some point soon here if they really want to contend with that. And also, doesn't hurt to get a little bit of that on Thanatos as he has so much self-sustain in his kit. As we see these junglers group up over this Naga, we see Rom go into the air for some snipes, Thanatos hovering in the air. Where's he going? He's hovering, Death hovering, hits the stun, does not pick up the kill as Alquan comes back and executes him there. Little bit of an overstep from the Thanatos as we see, and now Alquan comes in on the Rom, dragons in, dashes in, does not get the autos, unfortunately, to kill him. And Rom gonna safely back to base under tower there.
I mean, that was a really good fight from Death the King, forcing Thanatos to kind of try and make something happen, but unable to make it happen into this Ao Kuang. And I feel like that's almost entirely due to that 1-for-1 trade where we saw the Thanatos fall for jungle for support.
Exactly. A little bit behind, which you generally do not expect to hear about in Thanatos versus an Alquang. And also, I think Xeno might have thought it was a 1v1, but it wasn't because of Lloydie I'm sorry. Yeah, Lloydie peppered in some ROM snipes there to also help, and still Death the King was able to turn that around.
Yeah, I mean the only way that that doesn't go that way is if Xeno, I believe he used Scythe on the camp uh, to secure that, and not having that available for the actual fight against the Ao Kuang is almost a death sentence in and of itself.
Yeah, that scythe just so much damage, so much healing and self-sustain for you that it can just swing a fight. You think you have the edge as we see Thanatos hovering in the sky, coming onto a full health Wukong who's just going to channel his own ultimate, get out of the stun, and cloud out of there with nary a sweat broken.
Yep, and I mean a 4-man rotation to the solo side that, I mean, they got a blue buff for it, but other than that, they didn't really get anything on that side of the map. And instead, it looks like they're. Oh,
Yeah,
we
we
see
see the
this.
Athena ulting in, coming in, getting the taunt that manages to find the last hit onto a Lloydie. So while Odin's headhunters may have rotated strong over to solo and gotten nothing, Killer Kappas take advantage of that global pressure and pick up a kill onto this ROM and put the X-Ball ahead at this point.
Yeah, and that is what Athena lets you do. It lets you just kind of be wherever you need to be as you need to be there. And yeah, we need to see a lot more of that if we're going to be offsetting what this Vomit is capable of doing.
Absolutely, as we see some scuffling and positioning here over a beacon that isn't even spawning for another couple of minutes, so just kind of fighting over empty ground at this point. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
far, go on.
I'm surprised to see Killer Kappas with a lead right now. They have an incredible late game comp against an incredibly early game comp, and they're out ahead 7-8 minutes into this game, and it's kind of looking rough if you're the Odin Headhunters, because the later this match goes, the worse it's going to get.
Exactly. The last thing you want to give a team with an X-Ball, Scylla, and Alquang a chance to do is scale up, as we see a lot of damage coming out in the solo lane, but still holding on to some abilities. Vamana able to dash away just out of range of the Athena taunt, will manage to escape there. Thwarts the efforts of the Killer Kappas. But as you said,
Yep.
Odin's Headhunters, I would have thought they'd have the advantage here in the early game. How how soon do you think they really need to try to get that advantage and momentum swung back in their favor before it becomes too little, too late?
I believe that it needs to happen before the first Stygian spawns. I think that if you're in a position where you can't win the fight over Stygian, then things are looking really, really bleak for you.
Yeah, that would make sense. That still gives them a couple of minutes to farm up or potentially get a pick or two somewhere across the map and really swing some pressure and momentum in their way. As we see this Wukong just bullying this Vamana so far here in the early game. I know that's what Wukong's known for, but that's also what Vamana's kind of known for, so I'm a little surprised to see it swing so heavily in favor of Wukong as we see action over here in the duo lane. X-Ball on alt dropped as they are going in on this Aphrodite, who is able to get away under tower, just so tanky and so much healing for herself. But Rom, caught out in the middle of nowhere potentially, rolls through, taunt, ults out of the taunt, drops immediately back down. He's just so big brain, uses his CC immunity, says, I don't want to be stuck up here. I'm just going to come down and get away safely, as we see Thanatos now in the sky. Low health, alt forced out defensively, not hovering death, running away death it is, as we see Killer Kappas potentially group up around this Gold Fury.
And I mean, they can absolutely shred it. They have Ao Kuang, they have X Ball, they have Scylla. I mean, this may just end up being a completely free objective for them.
Absolutely. It looks like Odin's Headhunters are either unaware of it or are just saying, you know what, you can have it, as we see the Scylla ult come out, secure the Gold Fury. Killer Kappas take that one. take themselves a 300 gold lead.
Looks about like that, yeah. I mean, a lot of that is this Wukong is doing so much right now for his team. And I mean, look at the ward supremacy they have around this Gold Fury side of the map. It is just, it's incredible that they have, what is that, six wards down on that side of the map, and the Odin Headhunter have zero. They have not a single ward on the map, as far as I am aware.
It does not look like it. I was a little surprised. I expected the lead to be a little larger for Kappas, as they had almost 1,000 gold lead a few minutes ago, but Odin's Headhunters have been able to farm that up, and to the point where still in Kappa's favor, but not as much. And I think this Jormungandr is the main reason for that. Just able to bully this Scylla, force waves under tower, and get to camps that she can't while she's still trying to clear the wave. Scuffling here in mid lane, Yorm gets a knock-up, avoids the taunt, doing some damage onto the Athena, but no real engagement there, just kind of upping some damage numbers.
Yep, he's bloating the Jormungandr mid numbers. He's making it look incredibly strong right now. He's kind of just chilling. I mean, Krusty's is just he's chilling as hard as you could want from Jormungandr mid. He's not really had any sort of pressure applied to him. He's like I said, he's just chilling. He's farming. He's gathering the what is that item called? Tablet stacks,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just he's as I said, he's just chilling, and that may be where this Odin Headhunters have the ability to come back.
Yes, we see them. Jormungandr forced out as we talk about it here. He's still going to go in a couple of times. Thanatos also in this guy. Snipes coming in. Athena ult forced out. Athena will fall. Does not ult to safety. Ult to try to save a teammate. Death the King falls on the Aokwang too, as the Odin's Headhunters were just able to group up not before the beacon spawns, like you said, but as the beacon spawns, they're able to take 2 kills and the beacon and manage to get the momentum swinging back in their favor.
Yeah, and that's kind of exactly what needed to happen. I mean, Snips wasn't there for the beacon. You kept the solo lane matchup over in solo lane, so Wukong wasn't able to have impact on that match or on that fight at Stygian, and it just I watched an Alcong. I watched him get actually just exploded. That man went from about 50% health to dead in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, just so much damage coming out of this Jormungandr mid and the Thanatos, and everyone around. The Rom Snipes also came in that really helped set them up. As we see what is now about 1,500 or so gold lead for the Headhunters. They've done what you said. They've fought back, swung that momentum back in their favor, and gained an advantage as we see the junglers grouped up here. Thanatos is able to get into the hovering death. He's hovering around, looks like he's going to go in. Aokwang dashes away, though. Thanatos, 1 HP, does manage to get out. Oh, some crazy action there as we see Jormungandr walk up, ult up into the Scylla. 1 giant goose, 2 giant goose, 3 giant goose goes away from the action.
Yeah, I mean, Zeno is very fortunate that Aokwang illusion did not kill him. He managed to survive on 1 HP as we see aggression coming out from Aloidi onto this X-Ball. And he's kind of really far ahead at this point. He's got a tier 3 item over the X-Ball. Oh my god, what is that damage?
Scylla just comes in and provides so much damage. Rom force up into the air, but nowhere to go. Dies immediately upon landing. Pokemon comes over, collects 1, and puts it under their belt as we see them now take up their
What is Snips doing? Why did Snips back?
I don't know.
I don't guess it'll matter too much, but they might have already been done burning this, and they could have been perhaps defending their tier 1 in mid, but instead Snips just decides it's not worth my time, I'm leaving.
says it's not worth his time, but they do manage to pick up the Gold Fury. However, Odin's Headhunters on the other side of the map are chasing down this Wukong, who's bird forming away, gets away from the Thanatos ult, away from the Vamana ult. He's out of there at 200 HP. They're diving tower for him, but he's still alive, still at 1 HP, fighting underneath this tower. Thanatos is going to fall to the tower regardless. Wukong's still alive. He forms away. Oh my god, how does he do it?
What did I just bear witness to? Why is Thanatos taking a tower? Why did Papa Nike just say not worth my time? I'm leaving. What is with these people and like ignoring what the team is doing and just walking away? It just as now Ao Kwong gets a free kill onto King Balrus here. It's just they kind of Odin Headhunters just kind of threw themselves at them and got punished for it. They lose a Gold Fury. They lose 2 on the solo side. And it's I'm honestly surprised to see them retaining a lead right now. And it's mostly onto the mid ADC. I think the Jormungandr is a level and a half, almost 2 levels ahead, and Aloydi probably has about that exact same lead. And I don't know how many objectives the Killer Kappas need to be able to crawl back that difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an advantage for the Odin's Headhunters backline. However, Scylla X-Ball, not exactly strangers to being a little behind as they're so late scaling, as Jormungandr ult comes out a little early here, as Wukong manages to pick up another kill onto this Vamana. This action in the solo lane is not going in the Vamana's favor. Thanatos hovering up does not get the execute, but does help Krusty's Nuts pick up a kill onto the Athena here in the mid lane, as it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. Scylla trying to make it a 2-for-1 trade. Almost. A lot of damage there, but not quite enough.
Yeah, I mean, you trade support for solo, it's whatever. I think that Killer Kappas are looking really, really strong right now, but they don't have anything to show for it. They need to be gathering bastions and sieging tier 1s to make up this gold differential.
Absolutely. Although, I do have to say, it's only about 1,500 gold or so for Odin's Headhunters. If you told Killer Kappas before this game starts, hey, 18 minutes, you're down 1,500 gold, I think they'd take it, given the comp they have, and they'd say, okay, we just need to farm up another couple minutes, and then we'll be there. As we see Ao Kwong getting found out, but the Athena ults to him to make sure that he's safe, and now it's a 2v2 instead of a 1v2. Thanatos also in the sky, hovering death. Ao Kwong blink, Ao Kwong dash, manages to get away. Thanatos crashes down onto nothing, and now Ao Kwong turns and re-engages as we also see a Jormungandr ult peppering out some damage as these teams group up around the beacon here.
Yeah,
More
and now
action.
it's just people pressing buttons left and right here for a Stygian that went this way of. Did it go the way of the Kappas or did it go the way of Headhunter? I think it would have gone the way of Headhunters, I believe, because the tier 1 and mid still is full HP.
Yes. Good context clues there to put it together, Sherlock.
Yes, call me Detective Nacho from here on forward.
Detective Nachos. We see Rom go into the air and snipe down as he helps Papa Nike secure a kill onto the Scylla. X-Ball stuck out way too far as we see him get stomped out by the Vamana and the Aloydi. Odin's Headhunters have turned 4 kills around in the blink of an eye, and now they march towards this fire giant 9 minute.
Yeah, wow. That's about the only way you can summarize that fight. Death the King looking for Thanatos under the tier 1 tower. He ults Thanatos, but then he beads it and turns it around on him. Scylla eating Rama snipes, and just all in all, just a really, really, really good fight from the Odin's Headhunters that turns around to this fight.
We do see Wukong come up, try to steal unsuccessful. Odin's Headhunters will secure the fire around all 5 members. 19 minutes, 30 seconds into this game. They have managed to eke themselves out a bit of a lead. It's actually jumped up to about 5,000 gold here recently. That's a very, very big lead along Fire Giant. Do you think Odin's Headhunters are going to be able to take this advantage and really punch through the Kappa's defenses before their scaling comp hits full power?
I think that there's a pretty good chance if the fights keep going the way that that one just did. I mean, that
That's
was
fair.
a very one-sided fight.
Absolutely. Managing a 4-for-none is always going to be a one-sided fight, even if there are some low health bars. But there weren't even that low health bars. They were picking themselves a fire giant afterward. So now we've seen them back. We've seen them, get gold or some items under their belt, spend their gold as they also go over pick up the Pyromancer. Where do you want to see them press their advantage here next?
I mean, I would have liked to see somebody defending Oni here. I really, really like the call from the Kappas to take this Oni if they can get it, but it doesn't even look like they're going to be able to.
No. Thanatos dunks in with the ult. Snipes come in. Killer Kappas manage to secure the Oni Fury. Not going to out here. I'm a monster. That does cost them Death the King as well. It's a 1-for-1 and an objective on each side, and a fire off of Phoenix. So I think that might be a bit of an edge, but now no longer an advantage as Filthy Scylla just gets obliterated. He got torn through there in 1.4 seconds. He just died so fast.
Yeah, I mean, he has no dedicated physical protection at this moment. So Aloydi is hitting him really, really, really hard with the shred pen build that he has. It's just, what can you do? What can you do when you go that second item Shoguns? You're forfeiting your life if the Vom and Thanatos Rama decide to hit you.
Yeah, and it's just hard when you, like you said, you just don't have the prots necessary to stand up to an onslaught like that. Just so much damage coming out of them, as we see. Again, they've disengaged a little bit after the objectives went down. Not so much to fight over in the immediate, so teams are back to spend up a little bit more gold. They are coming out of base now. Looks like teams are generally heading for the left side, except for these solo laners who are sticking over on the right side of the map for now. Do you expect to see Odin's Headhunters try to wipe these towers before this fire giant falls, or do you think they want to try to get a Phoenix?
Honestly, I believe that the headhunters can do whatever they want to do. I think that they could walk in and take the phoenixes if they so choose. I mean, looking at the relic selection from the Killer Kappas, there is not a single horrific on their team. The only anti-heal they have is the Divine Ruin on Scylla, and if she falls early in a fight, there is nothing stopping this Aphrodite sustain, this Vomit sustain, this Thanatos sustain from coming through.
Yeah, you definitely would have liked to see that come out earlier from the Killer Kappas as we see this. Rom does take the tower, but all the Kappas
Oh,
rotating in on him. So much damage returned onto Alkwang, though. Rom does get up into the air. Can he land the snipes? He does land the snipes! Alkwang goes down. Rom's still alive here. Athena going in, dashing in. Rom's still alive! How is he still alive? He's not anymore as Scylla manages to land the I'm a Monster, but will she get out alive as Jormungandr, as I correct myself, as Thanatos comes dunking in on her? They pick up 3 as they continue to march forward here onto the Wukong and the X-Ball.
I, I, uh, wow is all I can say about that. Is just straight up wow. Aloydi just decided he was him and took. I, how does he Rom roll with the size of his balls? That was just insane. I, Pokemon just like a little bit off the mark with Crush landing uh, when Rom falls from Ultimate there. And that just let him kind of just roll in and do even more than he already did. He saw 3 people walking at him, said, fuck it, we ball, and just destroyed almost 3 entire members by himself.
Absolutely. I know I was not at all prepared for the amount of damage he turned around so fast. I imagine Death the King was also not prepared as we see him get got on by this Vamana now too. This Alkwang just not having the necessary items and levels under his belt to really do damage here as we see Vamana go big baby form and get the kill onto not one but 2 members of the Kappas before they finally group up and get him to fall.
It took 5 members to kill a very low health bomb in there. And
Yeah.
things are looking rough, but your arm falls down.
Yorm does fall there as we see X-Ball coming up and doing some damage onto this Rama. Wukong able to get away. It's been a 2-for-2 now, and now I don't think either team can pick up this Fire Giant. But maybe as we see a potential pincer onto this X-Ball, maybe not. They're just gonna. Oh, Thanatos coming up behind him.
A little bit.
X-Ball has no idea.
Oh,
Maybe he
but
does. He dash away. Rom snipes just shy, just out of range. Good dash there by X-Ball to get out of the sticky situation.
yeah, I mean, if he was just a little bit later, if an Aphrodite kiss lands, there's nothing that he can do. But we see this blink come through on Athena, followed by the I'm a monster.
And he hit it. Go. Would have hit it, but a blink out there by Thanatos in order to escape certain death does unfortunately not extend that to the Aphrodite who falls, and he's going to have the hovering death forced out as well. Killer Kappa's putting up a nice little fight here as the Fire Giant has fallen off and is respawned. So Killer Kappa's going to take that advantage, grab themselves a Pyromancer, presumably, unless Vamana has anything to say about it. He does not. A lot of actions here. Continued damage onto the Athena. Vamana, big baby form stepping up. Jormungandr's here pumping out damage. Vamana gets 2 kills again! There's no anti-heal to deal with him! He finally falls, but at what cost?
Wow. Wow, if Snips had an upgraded XE or if they had a horrific, that fight goes 1000% their way. I mean, Snips is doing everything he can. I mean, he's dumping so much damage into these fights, but he's just unable to burn through Vomit before Vomit can do Vomit things. And that's simply just due to the lack of a horrific and the lack of that Envenomed Deathbringer. Or not Deathbringer, oopsies, the Envenomed Executioner.
Yeah, and that's what everyone was talking about when they swapped the Envenom glyph onto Deathbringer was it's now viable for every ADC to get anti-heal. But the decision not to get it early here is really costing the Kappas as we see Thanatos go up and down and dunk onto them and pick up a nice kill for himself. And also his team will push down and get this mid Phoenix. And potentially more onto this Athena. Athena just dying so fast, just does not have the prots, not tanky enough to stick around there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I genuinely believe that not having anti-heal has cost them this game. It's not over yet. There's still a fight left to have. Not if it goes down like this, though. Alternate timeline.
Alternate timeline forced out. Manages to get the root crush onto Thanatos and get out of there. Scylla survives and turns one around as now Vamana and Rama are high-tailing it out of there at low HP. Killer Kappas survived to fight another day.
Yeah, I mean, that was huge from Pokemon. I mean, being able to turn onto that Thanatos, the Thani being just a little overzealous, tanking a Titan, and not expecting the damage to come out from the Scylla. But it's the 28 minutes into the game. Scylla is doing big damage right now.
Believe me, I know that. We did see Kappa's group up around the Zoni Fury, but Jormungandr's presence is going to force them to back away. They're just going to get some farm, try to get some more items under that belt, and make sure they hit their full final power spikes, as now Odin's Headhunters steps into the Gold Fury pit and pulls it for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I need to see is I need to see this upgraded Executioner come out from Snips. Snips is doing a significant amount in team fights. I mean, he's the top damage for his team, both ADCs being top of the damage charts, but Snips needs to have that Envenomed Executioner up and online. And if that can happen, then this game can be very winnable for the Killer Kappas.
Agreed. It's just such an important tool in the belt of ADCs at this point, and like you said several times, is really biting them in the butt that they just don't have access to that. Just not enough from it. A Divine Ruin's good, but it's not enough. The Executioner or an Ankh would serve them very well here, as they have pulled this Fire Giant. Athena here trying to cause some disruption, but I don't know if she's going to be able to do enough to prevent this from falling, and it does not look like it. Odin's Headhunters confirm the Fire Giant and are now stepping forward onto this Athena still, who falls all alone. Alkwang also in the back, but Papa Nike steps forward too far, and they manage to kill him before he gets into Big Baby. I guess that's one way to deal with the Big Baby. Just don't let him come out.
Yeah, I mean the massive burst damage coming out of this Scylla right now is I mean the backline of the Killer Kappas is doing everything they can to keep this match going. I mean our Pokemon is just bursting people down left and right. Snips is getting really good consistent damage off in these team fights, but they need to find a way to turn it into something other than just one-off kills.
Yeah, exactly. Need to find a way to get a couple of kills, at least a 2-for-1, or it may be a clean team fight win that would end any potential siege as we see all these members gathered up here around the right Phoenix. Members respawning here, so Filthy Scylla will be able to rejoin this fight. Vamana not just now spawning, does have teleport online, can join if he would like if the Odin's Headhunters want to continue this siege here.
Yep. And it's not EFG, so it's not the easiest siege in the world for the Odin Headhunters. Sieging into Scylla can be incredibly difficult, but they're just gonna walk right in.
Yeah, they are. Thanatos in the sky, dunks down, manages to pull some relics off, does not get a kill. But in all the chaos, Odin's Headhunters does take down the Phoenix. Xenophonics picks up a kill onto the Athena. Pokemon picks one back up onto the Xenophonics. Vamana, Big Baby, stepping on people. Lots of damage coming out. Aloydi picks up Snips. Wukong birds away back into Phoenix. Aloydi picks up another kill onto the Scylla. Now goes into the air. Rom snipes some full health targets in the fountain. Not going to do anything there, but Odin's Headhunters have come forward, kicked this door down, taken one Phoenix, gonna take the Phoenix again in mid as it respawns, and are now potentially looking forward at this Phoenix, or at this Titan. They come forward, they get the Wukong. Alquang gets stuck in the fountain.
Yeah, he
He's low
can't
HP.
step up. He'll just fall over dead to this like that.
So fast.
That's just wow. They legit just said we ball and ran them down. I mean, Thanatos Vahman being on Scylla basically immediately forced Scylla out where she wasn't able to really have too much of an impact on that fight. And you just the backline from the Kappas was not able to contribute to the game.
No, not quite enough as we see Scylla did just manage to get full item, full build there. X-Ball not quite able to upgrade the Executioner, and I do think that was biting them in the butt. And I think Odin's Headhunters might have sensed it. They're just like, we don't want to let this go to Enhanced Fire Giant. If we let them truly finish their builds, at that point, they have the advantage in an actual group team fight. So they just wanted to take the advantage that they had, push forward, make it so that this game and this set were over as they do take a 2-0 victory here on Monday Night Smite in the retirement home.
Yep, and I mean, I'd like to give a little bit of credit to King Balrus. I didn't talk about him much that game, but he did almost as much healing as the Aokwang did damage. He was a really large contributing factor to that match as a whole. I mean, everyone from the Odin Headhunters did exactly what they needed to do to win that match.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They played very well as a unit. Aloydi with the monstrous 13-3-7 stat line there, but great team effort in order to allow Aloydi the space and time necessary in order to do that and pump out so much damage, pick up so many kills. Great effort from the Odin's Headhunters. Killer Kappa showed a lot of fight there, especially in game 2. Don't want to hang their heads and be too dejected. But after that set, that is all we have for you guys here tonight in the retirement home. Nacho, you got anything to say before we go?
Um, get anti-heal. Grab a horrific when you are against a Vomit Aphrodite Thanatos. Please get the horrific emblem. It is arguably the best relic in the game anyway, and if you're playing into that, it's basically required.
Exactly. I'm gonna back that fully. Get horrific in just about every game unless you're on my enemy's team because I don't want to deal with it. But we have had a lot of fun here. I've been Deacon, Mr. Nacho's been along with me, and Salty on the Spectator. We're gonna wish you good night. Have a good one, folks.